Earlier this month, President Biden sat down with President Putin in Geneva and warned him on cyber attacks, including ransomware. He said, "We have significant cyber capability, and if in fact the Russians violate basic norms, the United States will respond with cyber in a cyber way." Do you think his signaling to Putin in this way will have any deterrent effect?
I think it will, and I think it's important. It was a very, very important step, Ellen, because for the past 15 years or so, we haven't had much of in the way of a deterrent. We've been a cheap date in cyber, where we've been attacked repeatedly in a variety of ways, and no real serious response. Sanctions here and there, but I believe that having a deterrent is absolutely critical. Otherwise, they're just going to keep doing it. Cyber is cheap. Putin can hire 8,000 hackers for the cost of one jet fighter. Think of that for a second. And that means cost is not really any kind of deterrent or disincentive. They've got to feel that they're at risk. I want somebody in the Kremlin, in the Politburo, to say, gee, boss, I'm not sure we ought to do this because we're liable to get whacked in some way by those
Right.
Americans if we follow through. The best cyber attack is the one that doesn't happen.
Well, for years, US government policy has been that we do not have to respond to cyber attacks with cyber attacks. In fact, doing so is not always, as you know, the most effective counterpunch, certainly not alone. When there is a cyber attack that affects our critical infrastructure, like a pipeline, do you think that we should respond in a cyber way? And should we target the adversary's critical infrastructure?
Well, I don't think we need to be that specific. I don't think we need to say the response has to be cyber for cyber or critical infrastructure for critical infrastructure. I think the important thing is that we have a clear declaratory policy that there will be a costly response. And I don't think it's helpful to be terribly specific about what that would be. Now, that means something more than we will respond in some way of our choosing. I don't think that's
Right.
sufficient. I think it has to
Well,
be specific and it has to be quick.
in fact, President Biden said we will respond in a cyber way, which I think was what made me take notice. And I mean, do you think we should respond in a cyber way to a cyber attack?
Well, I think that's one of the tools in the toolbox. I don't think it necessarily should be the only tool. There may be others in the way of sanctions or other things that can be done that will send the message that this isn't anything to be trifled with in terms of our country. I'm not prepared to say it should be cyber for cyber, but I do think that what the president did was signaling a deterrent policy is a big step forward, and it's one that I support.